Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I remove my facial hair, my peach fuzz, anything that it's unwanted. Personally, it's something that I've been doing for more than 10 years now. It's something that I notice it makes a huge difference in the way my makeup applies, and just in general, like when it comes down to my skincare, I find that it helps to absorb a lot better, and it also just gives me this beautiful blank canvas to work with. I have a specific techniques and specific things that I like to use. I like to do both waxing and shaving. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you exactly from start to finish how is it that I do my hair removal. If you are excited about this video, if you want to see how I get this very nice, smooth, glass looking skin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my Makeuprevolution. I use this in my brow tutorial. I'll link it up here and in the description box. Now, I like to do this because I like to, brush my hairs up. If you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of those laminated brows, very bushy brows, because naturally I don't have a lot. When I was younger, I used to get my brows done by some lady, and for whatever reason they were always very thin. And then one day I came to the realization that I needed to stop going with her and just do my own brows. So the first thing I do is I just brush them up just to have kind of an idea of what I need to clean up. So whatever doesn't brush up, or the little hairs that I get around these areas right here, I could get rid of those. Now, to remove my facial hair, I use two techniques. I love waxing certain parts, and then for the rest, I like to shave or dermaplane, however you want to call it. Personally, it's something that I enjoy doing every so often, only because, dermaplaning is really good to exfoliate your skin, to get rid of any dead skin, any hair, and a peach fuzz, and it helps your foundations, your products just go a lot smoother. For the waxing, I like to use these wax strips. I'll post a picture of what the box looks like. I don't know what happened to my box. I've been so busy. I don't know where's half my things. The reason why I like to use wax in specific parts of my face is only because naturally the hair in those areas tends to be a little bit thicker than the rest of my face, and then I still go back and shave those areas as well. What I would do is I would normally cut them. You could cut them whatever size you want. This specific one is meant for your legs or your arms or whatever. They used to make some strips that were specific for the face, but I think they discontinued them because I was never able to find them in my local Target, Walmart. So one day I decided to get just the regular ones for the legs, and they work just fine. I use them in my face and I've never had a problem. The first thing I like to do is I like to grab the little wax, and I like to use the wax on these areas because the hair on these areas tends to grow a little bit thicker than the rest of my facial hair. And the reason why I got introduced into all the waxing, all the shaving, all these kinds of things is because I've always been very hairy in my face. Always, ever since I was a little girl, I used to get bullied in school because kids would just make fun of me because I had very long sideburns. So for me, it was one of my insecurities, and I just grew up like that. When I was older, I just didn't care anymore, what people think. But I did notice a huge difference whenever I would remove most of the hair when it comes down to your bronzer, to your blushes, highlighters, foundation itself. It just applies very differently. So these strips are actually pretty cool because you don't have to warm them up, not even with your fingers. You literally just open them up and then just put them on your skin, and then you tug. Now, a lot of people are gonna have their opinions about whether or not waxing your face is good or bad. You stretch your skin, do your research. That's all I'm gonna say. For me personally, this is something that I've been doing for a very long time, and I've never had an issue. I've never noticed any major difference when it comes down to the elasticity of my skin or anything like that, but you do you. Anyway, so I apply them, and then what I'll do is I'll press on my skin like a little bit on the bottom, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pull it. So whenever you do happen to wait a long time to do it, like in between sessions, I guess, it does hurt. But if you do them often, you know, obviously your skin gets used to the pain. Now my skin does get very, very red, but that's just for the first 20 minutes. And then after that, my skin goes back to normal. I used to wax my entire face, but after a while, I realized that I didn't really need to do that. I think that just doing it on the sides and sometimes in my eyebrows, that's more than enough. And then the rest of the facial hair could be taken care of by the razor. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So what I do is I pull down. You do have to pull down a little bit just so that it doesn't hurt as much. Do it slightly, you know, put a little bit of pressure and then just pull it. And that's that. Another part that I like to wax is this part right here behind my ear. The reason why I like to remove that is because I have very frizzy hair. I live in a very humid place. My hair doesn't grow extremely long on these areas, and having those little hairs on this side kind of like adds volume to it, and it looks pretty disgusting. So what I will do is I will grab, you know, whatever I have left, and then I'll just place straight down, and then you kind of want to like place it in the direction of the hair growth, so that way it's a little bit easier. So what I'll do is I'll grab and then I'll just jank it. For the most part, this will take care of all those little hairs that are very annoying to me. But obviously, if you want to do a little bit more, you could definitely do it. For me, I find that just removing that little spot right here helps a lot. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. And they do hurt. It's not an unbearable pain. The last thing I want to do is my mustache. I don't wax it all the time, only because I use other things to kind of like touch up in between sessions. I don't necessarily have to do it every single time I do it, but this time I actually do. I haven't even had time to do my touch-ups, and it's kind of funny because this is horrible. Since we have to wear the mask all the time, I really don't find the need to do it because nobody's gonna see me, you know, up close and personal. And then as far as makeup goes, this past 2.5, 3 weeks, I haven't really worn a lot of makeup, only because I have an accounting job, and, you know, with everything that's happening in the world, I was staying at home. So I stood at home for about 5.5 months. And if you have any type of accounting job or like anything that has to do with paperwork, you probably know the amount of paperwork I had to cut up with. So these past 3 weeks were all about cutting up, trying to get, you know, things going again, grab a rhythm, organizing and stuff like that. So I honestly haven't had a chance to just sit down, relax, record, or just take care of my mustache. So yeah, but you know, it's actually pretty cool because we have to wear the mask and nobody knows unless you watch my videos and you know me. As far as like my mustache, I'm not very detailed or anything because I just get rid of like the main parts, like which is this part right here. And then after, you know, I go with the blade. And like I said, this is not something that I do all the time. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna wax. After I wax, I like to go with aloe vera. You can use oil. You can use pretty much anything to soothe and remove any of that extra wax. Just make sure that you don't use anything with alcohol because 1, it would burn, and 2, it can stain your skin. So for me personally, and this is very personal, I like to use aloe vera. I buy the actual natural leaf at the grocery store. I don't know if every grocery store sells them. I go to the Mexican grocery store and that's where I buy it. So what I normally do is like you open it up and then I just like to pinch it and then you'll see like this little gooey thing. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's actually pretty gooey. So that's what I like to apply on my skin. Now, Aloe vera is actually very soothing. It helps if you have any burns or if for whatever reason you get any reaction to your skin. Aloe vera is actually pretty good. If you do have very sensitive skin, just try it in a little, like maybe around your neck and stuff, because I do know certain people say that it's a little too harsh for them. For me, this is like the best thing ever. I keep it in my fridge, and then I just cut like pieces, like whenever I'm gonna do skincare or even just at night. I like to do it. For me, the best aloe vera there is the natural one. I know there's a lot of gels out there. I have never found one that has 0 alcohol. That's the only reason why I prefer to just do natural aloe vera, and it's pretty inexpensive. That whole thing is like $1. That's what I do, and then I'll just wait a little bit for like pretty much, you know, just to absorb and let my skin rest for a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys the stuff that I normally use to touch up. This one is by Conair. I don't know what this is called. You kind of twist it, and I don't know if you guys could hear it, and then you'll normally just go in circular motion, and then you would just get rid of any hair that you might have in your skin. And then obviously after you're done using it, you could, you know, disinfect it. Especially if you're going to use it in your face, you need to make sure that this is always clean. So this is one of the things that I use, and I normally use this for all over the face. Like I could use it in my cheeks and my sideburns, anywhere. So this is actually pretty good, and I think it's very inexpensive. I don't know the exact price, but I remember being very inexpensive. The other one that I have, this one is by Flawless, and this is kind of like a brow pen. So this one has a little light and it turns on, and this one is actually pretty good for like in between your brows or under the brow for like just quick touch-ups. Depending on what the day is, you know, I will alternate between these two, but these are actually pretty good to have. If I had to choose between the two, I would definitely go with this one, only because it's a little bit bigger, so you can cover more all around your face. Or if you just don't want to do any waxing or shaving, you could just get something like this and then, you know, try to get rid of the hair. Like I said, for me, I normally like to use it for touch-ups. There has been times where I use it for all over the skin, but I'm so used to the results of the wax and the shaving that for me it's not safe. For me, these are just touch-ups. But if you've never done any of this, I would recommend starting with something like this, you know. That way you can start seeing the difference, and then, you know, if you want to venture out into the waxing and shaving, then you could probably use any of the other methods. But yeah, for the blades, I've tried a whole bunch of them. I've tried very expensive one, I tried very cheap ones, and honestly, for me personally, the Tinkle ones are my all-time favorite. These are, I think you can buy them in a pack for like 9 blades for like $6.99 at Amazon. I normally only use them like once or twice, and then I dispose them, but I think you can get away with using it like about 4 or 5 times, as long as you obviously make sure that the blade is clean and you disinfect it every time before you use it. What I normally do is I'll grab a brand new blade, I remove the lid. They all come with a tiny lid, and I like to spray it with just pure alcohol just to disinfect it, and then I wait a little bit so that it could dry. Now, shaving your face is, like I told you guys in the beginning, it's one of those things that once you start doing it, you can never go back. And not necessarily because your hair grows thicker. Personally, my hair has never grown thicker than what it was. If anything, it's a little bit thinner, but that's just my personal experience. I don't know that it would be the same for everybody. But for me personally, it's one of those things that ever since I started doing it, I did notice a big difference as far as like how much and how thick it is. So for me, it has given me pretty good results. And then the reason why I'm telling you that once you start doing it, you could never go back, because your makeup would never look the same. Like, that's, you know, your skincare would never absorb the same. Your makeup would never look the same. Like, you get that very nice glass skin, and I absolutely love it. What I would normally do is I'll start from the top all the way to the bottom, and there's a few things that I like to point out. So starting with the forehead, I like to just make sure that I grab all my hair, my baby hair, because I have a lot of tiny baby hairs on this side. So what I like to do is I'll start from here, and then the first time that you do it, you start hearing how the dead skin skin, it's coming out. But you could see all the dead skin. You could definitely hear it. You could probably see it in my forehead. Now, when you get near your eyebrows, make sure that you cover your eyebrow with your finger just to avoid any accidents. This has never happened to me, but I've always been very afraid. Just be careful, you know. And there's not a specific direction that I do it, or like a specific rule that I follow. I just like to start from the top, going to the bottom, and obviously, you know, the more you do it, the more confident you feel with the blade. And for my cheeks, I like to pull down a little bit just so that it can be easier. And as you can see, I have a ton of that skin. I don't like to do my under eye only because I've always been afraid of actually scratching or cutting myself. I just go like kind of like in this direction, and I like to do very little strokes going downward. And this also helps to get rid of any hair that the wax didn't, because sometimes when you just do the wax would not really pick up every single little strand. Sometimes you left hair behind, and that's okay. That's why I like to go and use this. And you'll be surprised of the amount of stuff that we have stuck in our skins. Sometimes I like to think that all my devices and everything really clean your skin, but you come to find out that that's not always the case. Normally, whenever I do this is at night. I don't recommend you to do this during the day, only because you are exfoliating the first layer of your skin, and obviously your skin is gonna be a lot more sensitive. Now for my nose, I'm gonna do the same thing. I actually really enjoy what the blade does for my nose, because I noticed that it gives me the same effect as if I use one of those pore strips. It gets rid of a lot of the stuff, and sometimes your pores might not be super like large or deep, but they look like that because sometimes we have a lot of dead skin just sitting on top. What I normally do is I start by the sides, so I'll grab my finger and I press like kind of like the corner of my nose. Shaving your nose is one of the coolest things I've ever discovered, and I'm actually a fan. You could definitely do like a facial right after, or do a mask. If you have very congested skin or very oily skin, I would recommend something like a clay mask. If you have more normal or more sensitive skin, I recommend doing a lot of hydration. Nourish your skin and hydrate and plump and all of that kind of stuff. It's gonna be great for your skin, because since you just shaved it, like it's gonna absorb everything. Another thing that I like to mention is that if you are gonna shave your face, I don't recommend using any retinol, any acids, or anything like that, because like I said, you did get rid of kind of like the first layer of your skin. So you need stuff that it's really gonna nourish and not necessarily treat with any acids, because it could burn and it could hurt a lot. And trust me, I've tried it. And I think I'm tough, but even for me, it was a little too much. For my brows, I would normally just kind of cover it and then press down to get rid of any dead skin around my eye area. You could definitely wax some and then go over with this. And then for the tail of my brow, for the most part, I like to almost get rid of it, but not really. I like to have a more lifted brow nowadays. I really don't have a lot of hair on this area. I don't mind. I do my brows every single day. The techniques that I like to use, they look very natural, like depending on how much product you use. So for me, that's not an issue. So now for the top, I don't like to do a lot in the top. If anything, I just try to get them to be a little bit more even, but I don't like to do too much, only because since I do brush them up, that usually helps to give my brows a little more volume. So that's the only reason why I don't really do much up there, and that's pretty much it. So after I do this, I normally will wash my face, do my skincare. Like I said, sometimes I like to do just very nourishing skincare, sometimes I like to do a mask, but yeah, other than that, that's how I shave my face. That's how I get rid of any dead skin, any peach fuzz. Thank you so much for watching. I am so sorry that I haven't been posting as much as I would like to, but like I told you guys, August has been just so busy for me, but luckily I was able to record today, and I'm very, very happy, and I'm also very excited to start recording more videos again now that everything at work went back to normal. I did place an order from the Sephora sale. It's not a lot, it's maybe like 3-4 products, only because there wasn't a lot of things that I was very interested. But let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see that. Other than that, I have a few foundation reviews that I'm planning on. I'm gonna go to sleep now because it's like 1 in the morning. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.